Hello everyone, I welcome you all again to this online NPTEL Field Structural Geology course. We are today at our lecture number 2, and in this lecture we are going to see the general overview of the field locations. We mostly will talk about where we will be seeing the structures, what are the overall geology of this area, and some of the important aspects of this region, particularly what previously people have done. We will not mark each and every work, but some of the very classical works we are going to see through this lecture. So, the location where we will be doing the field is at the eastern part of India. The name of the town is Ghatshila, the nearest town. Ghatshila is in the state Jharkhand, and it is also a pretty touristic spot, particularly in winter time. People go there to rest at the banks of river Subarnarekha. We will see all these things. The reason I selected Ghatshila for this course, there are two reasons actually. The first reason is I personally got trained in this region. This area exposes a lot of different aspects of earth sciences, sedimentology, metamorphic geology, and essentially structural geology. And the second reason is you will see that these exposures are really classical exposures. Since last 50-60 years or even more, people are getting trained from this region, and at the same time a lot of research articles have came out of this region. Nowadays these exposures are getting ruined, mostly because of the construction work. The motivation was actually to document all these things, and this is an opportunity through this course that I could document these structures, these outcrops, these features, and also can share with you through this course. So, Ghatshila is, as I said, it is in the eastern part of India, and in this map what you are looking at, the overall geological disposition of the central India. To give you an overview, this is Mumbai, here this is Kolkata, Nagpur is here in the middle. Here you have Bay of Bengal, and here this is Arabian Sea. Of course, north is in this direction. The different cratons that we see here, this is Bundelkhand craton. So, different tectonic elements of India. This is Aravalli craton here, or Aravalli mobile belt. Deccan is this area. This is Bastar craton, and here we have Singhbhum craton, and here we have Eastern Ghat mobile belt. A part of it goes southern side as well. In between we have central Indian tectonic zone marked by these two dotted lines, and part of it also known as Satpura mobile belt. We will be working in this area which is Singhbhum craton, and if we try to zoom to that part, the left side you see Google Earth image, and here you see elevation map or topographic map. They are more or less at the same scale. So, the cities are marked here, Ranchi, Dhanbad and Jamshedpur. What we see here in this area, that we have some tectonic elements, as you can think of here, then some areas here, and then overall a pinkish region here. The rivers are flowing from this side to the eastern side, from west to east mostly, or northwest to southeast. And here in this panel on the elevation map, we see that more or less exactly what we have seen in this area. So, we have a circular region here with some elevation here and here, and then this entire region here. So, eventually this entire thing forms kind of a triangular shape here, and this is essentially the large part or extended part of Shinghum Craton, and we will see in the next slide that this area is actually the Shinghum Craton. So, what we see here that it has mostly three distinct geological sections. At the north, we have Chota Nagpur Granite Gneissic Complex, CGC or CNGC. Then we have North Shinghum Orogen or NSO. At the very south, we have Shinghum Granite, and we have some volcanic rocks here. We have Dalma, this green one, then we have Dhanjori and Simlipal. You can see that overall it is a triangular shape, and it consists of a core of Shinghum granite here, which is rimmed by some sedimentary rocks. We will talk about it, that consists the North Shinghum orogen. Other than this area, particularly this area here, I am showing it in the map, this area is extremely mineralized of economic importance. So, this is also known as copper uranium belt in Shinghum shear zone, which occurs at the northern margin of the Shinghum granite. So, in the next slide, I will show you a geological map of this region marked by the red square. What we see in this map, that these are the different geological units, and if I would like to give some ideas, that this entire section below this is known as Shinghum granite, and there are many different types of granites, as you can see here. We will see all these things in the next slide when we will see the stratigraphy. But we have different types of granites, gneisses and granitoid rocks here, and at the base we have Gondwana sediments. Here we also have volcanics, we have Dhanjori volcanics here, then Simlipal is here, and Dalma volcanics is here. Pale green area that you see here is essentially the North Shinghum orogen, or it is otherwise known as Chaibasa formation. And this is the area we will be mostly working in this course. So, this Chaibasa formation and the Shinghum granite, the contact is famous Shinghum shear zone, it is a thrust, and then we have here TPSZI, that is Tomar Poropahar shear zone, but at the very north you have Chota Nagpur gneissic complex. We have a minor thrust here as well, that is known as Dalma thrust. What we are going to do now, we are going to see this particular area where we will be working, but before that let us have a look of the stratigraphy of this region. So, the entire region is marked by two major unconformities that you can see here, unconformity 1 and unconformity 2. By the way, this is a very simplistic stratigraphy. The stratigraphy of Shinghum region is extremely complex, but to give you a very general idea, I work in this simple form. What you see that below this unconformity 1, we mostly have all the granites, granitoids and gneisses other than iron ore group. Over this unconformity, we have three distinct sequences. One is Dhanjori and Simlipal volcanics and granitoid plutons. Then we have quartz conglomerate, that is a sedimentary rock, a part of Dhanjori group, and then we have pelitic and arenaceous metasediments. These metasediments are metamorphosed in the green schist facies. So, the rocks we will see mostly are weakly metamorphosed quartz, so to form quartzite, and some micaceous rocks or pelitic rocks to form mica cysts, and these are known as Singhbum group or Chaibasa formation that we are talking about. Then over this we have the second unconformity, and then we have Kolhan group, some ultramafics, gabbroanthocyte reach, then one very important granitic rock emplaced at the time, that was Mayurbhanj granite. And this entire sequence of Singhbum region that has formed from 4 billion years to almost 2 billion years were subjected to extreme diking, conjugate sets of dikes, and these are known as newer dolerite dikes and sills. So, this is mostly the overall stratigraphy. I am not going to talk about too much about the tectonic history of different things, it is complex. So, we will not talk about much about it, because we will be focusing only to a particular area to understand different structural aspects. So, as I said in the previous slide, we will focus now in this area. Again, this is a simplified geological section. What we see here, this entire region below this Singhbum shear zone is the Singhbum granite. I call it Archean craton for the time being. Then we have this Dalma thrust here, and this is Dalma volcanics, this blue and pale burnt sienna color. In between we have Chaibasa formation is this one. A river Subarnarekha is flowing from northwest to southeast, and why it is flowing, or it passes by a town that is called Ghatshila, and that is our field station or field location. In the next map, what we are going to see the overall geological disposition of this entire region that some great people walked long time back. The first map is by Professor Sarkar, and you can see that here, this is the map actually you see here, the north is in this direction. That is very important to understand this map, and if I compare it with the Google map, here the north is this. So, this map is actually a crop of this and then rotated this way to make the north here in this way. What we see here, this Dalma volcanics that we see here, these are actually a folded structure, and this is a synform, and here is another synform, and we have one antiform running through this. This is river Subarnarekha, I painted to give you an idea. And what is important here, that we see that some quartzite bands, so these are quartzite layers, you can see that they are going here like this. This place here, there is a town called Galudi, and Ghatshila is somewhere here, it is written GT. Okay. So, in this map we may not see it properly, but I marked it 3 yellow bands, 1, 2 and 3. These are also quartz bands, and we will be partially focusing these 3 quartz bands in this study. So, that is the Dalma boundary, and here we have the boundary of Singhbum shear zone. Let us have a look of another map, a very old map, but this map only covers this particular area. This is a map by Professor Khitin Naha, who was a professor in IIT Kharagpur. Here we see this quartzite bands, though he prepared these maps for a different purpose. So, entire country rock that you see here is mica schist, and these things that you see, this folded or differently oriented, these layers, these are quartzite. If I have to place Subarnarekha river for a reference, the river here goes like this, something like that way. That is not exactly how it is, but it is flowing in this way, and Ghatshila is here, and this is where you have Galudi. The hinge of the synform goes like this. Okay. What we see here, the 3 quartzite bands that we see in the map of Sarkar are marked here, and this map has been prepared in 1961. Now, if you go to this region, you hardly see any of this. These are all gone either because of erosion or by construction. And again I said that that is the motivation, that before everything vanishes, I would like to have a documentation of this region. We will try to see something in this area in the next map. This is the Google map of this region that I talked about, and you can see that this is how the river Subarnarekha is flowing from this side to this side. This is the rail line. Ghatshila is somewhere here, little north, the station Ghatshila. This is a road, a metalled road, recently renovated. This is Ghatshila main road. And this is more or less the Ghatshila town that you see here. Now, what is important to look at, that you see it is very greenish here, so hardly we can expect any exposures, but we see some features here. On the river bed, some rocks are exposed. I tell you these are mica schists, and this is a bridge that connects the northern part of the Subarnarekha to the southern part of the Subarnarekha. And this location we will refer later as Ferry Ghat. Before there, this bridge was constructed, people actually used to cross the river by some boats. We also see, if we follow the river, some features here going like this, another is like this, and another is like this. And these 3 are the 3 quartzite bands that we were talking about. I just switched to the previous map here in the Professor Naha's map. These 3 quartz bands we are seeing here in this Google Earth image. So, we will do field work in this area and see how this is going, but you can see that because of constructions here in this region, houses and other things, we hardly can trace these 2 here. However, if we come here, we see, I am sorry for this little patch, darker patch here that comes from Google map, but we see some hills here, and we will also see it in the topographic map. So, these are some contours here, and here this is Chitrakut hillock. Okay. So, these hills are same thing, and we will see later that we actually can connect these 3, and it goes like this, as we have observed from the map of Khitin Naha. In our course, we will refer this first one. This is, you can also understand that this is much thicker than these 2. So, this we will refer as quartz band 1, this one we will refer as quartz band 2, and this one we will refer as quartz band 3. Most of our work will be restricted in these 3 quartz bands and in these exposures, and we will see different structural features, and we will compare that what is happening regionally. There are some other places. So, in between these quartzite bands, we have some exposures where we can see mica schists to understand some beta deformation. Now, what I am going to do, I am going to show you the topographic map of this region. So, this region we see here in this slide, and the topo map published by Survey of India looks like this. I have redrawn it, but here you can see that this is the Ferry Ghat, and these are the exposures we are talking about, and these are mica schists. Here in this river we had these quartzite bands like this, they went 1, 2 and 3. These are the contours I was talking about in the previous section, this one and so on. By the way, here I would like to show you one more thing, that I clean this screen. These are important for some locations that we will be referring in future. So, you can see, or you can actually go directly to Google Map and see a little river is flowing like this, and the river got some branches here and here, some tributaries, and finally it crosses the rail line here, and there is a railway bridge. Other than this, what is important location here, that this Ghatshila main road that we talked about. So, if we come to the topo map, so this is the river we just talked about, and this is known as Lokjhoriya Nadi or Lokjhoriya Nala, and this is Ghatshila main road. So, the 3 quartz bands we can figure out from the Google map that they are mostly in this region. So, we will be working here and we will be working here. One of our tasks would be to map these 3 quartz bands, obtain their structural data, plot them in the map. So, it will be a very nice lithostructural mapping. Let us see that these regions that I marked. So, here I just faded the base map and marked this region. This is where we will be working, covering the Lokjhoriya Nala. These are the Chitrakoot hillocks here, and this is the Ferryghat. What we are going to do now, that we will be looking at these locations, particularly Ferryghat and also the locations of Harindungri village in different ways, because we are not in the field physically, we will be looking at things virtually. I here will try to give you as much as information I can provide through some different images and different perspectives. So, the first one here we see the Ferryghat, that is the Google map image of these exposures. This is the bridge that we talked about, and you can see these exposures, the rocks here in different ways. You may also notice here this little different anomaly here, and I tell you, as I said when I was talking about the stratigraphy. So, this is one of these dolerite dikes. Okay. So, we will see this in a different form. So, that is the general overview. We will enter through this place and have traversed, do some measurements and things like that. But before that, in the next slide, what we are going to see, that we placed our camera somewhere here at the top of the bridge and made a pan. So, you will see from the south side of the river bank to the north side of the river bank. Let us have a look. You can see on the other side of the bank you have some exposures. So, we are viewing from southeast towards northwest. The Subarnarekha is flowing from this direction. This is the downstream of Subarnarekha. And here in the top north part of the screen, we are seeing the exposures where we will be working. You may identify these black rocks here, these are dolerite dikes. Okay. So, we had the view from one side, and now we are going to see 2 different drone views. So, we flew the drone from this side along this at 2 different elevations. So, let us have a look of the first one. So, here what we are doing, we were at the northwest side, that means at the distant side away from the bridge. So, we are coming towards the bridge and then again we make a reverse direction. Let us have a look. But before that, you can see this black rock here. So, this is dolerite dike, and either side of this dolerite dike, these rocks here, these are mica schists. The drone is moving towards southeast. Here we have almost approached the bridge. I turned the drone to show you this dike here, and now we will move towards the northwest direction. That means, we will make a reverse movement of the drone to see it again. This is how the dolerite dike is exposed. So, this one was snapped when the drone was set at 10 meters elevation. In the next one, we have set the drone at 15 meters elevation. So, we get a wider view. Let us have a look, and you can see this is the trace of the dike. And here we are doing the reverse way. That means, we are moving from southeast towards northwest. This is the beauty of viewing things over drone, that actually you cannot see when you are in the field itself. So, to get a general overview of a field area, drone nowadays is somehow very helpful. All these rocks that you see here, these are mica schists, extremely deformed, and metamorphic grade is green schist. Here you can see the trace of this dolerite dike is going like this. And to get an idea of the scale, this is a little boat or dinghy that is flowing over the river. Now, we will change the direction of the drone. It is moving towards southeast. I may expedite this a little bit, but you have seen it. So, you can anyway stop the video and have a look as long as you want. Okay. So, this is more or less what we have to see for a general overview of the location Ferryghat. Now, we will move to our next area, that is near Harindungri village. What I said that we will see three different things. So, I again placed this Google map here. We have this Chitrakoot hillock here. We will place our drone here, and then we make the drone fly along this direction, and we will see what is here. So, from this side, so this is north. So, from northeast towards southwest, the drone will fly and come back. So, it will fly towards the Subarnarekha river. That would be our first shot. Then we will move to a place somewhere here. I am extremely sorry again for this black patch, but we will see them in a different form. And then what we will do, that the third quartzite band we can trace here, and then we will see the movement of the third quartzite band. So, we will make the drone fly in this direction along this quartzite band, and we see the railway bridge as well. That would be our second observation. So, we will see the first one here, second one will move from here towards the railway bridge, And the third one, we make our drone placed exactly at the same place and make a 360-degree view to see the third quartzite band, second quartzite band, and we will see if we can see the first quartzite band. So, let us try one after another. So, we are here, the shot that you see at the top of Chitrakoot hillock, and let us move the drone towards Subarnarekha river, or in other words southwest. These rocks you see, these are quartzite. One end is here, that is more or less the thickness of this quartzite band. This you see here, the Ghatshila main road, this one, Ghatshila is in this direction. We cross the road and we see a little shift. To track the quartzite band, we had to turn the drone. That tells us something. We got this band again, and here you can clearly see that it is from here to here. That is more or less the thickness of the band of this particular area. You can see that we had to rotate the drone continuously to track the band, and again that tells us something. We made the camera a little horizontal, it was vertical before. So, this is a canal that is newly made in this area Subarnarekha. If you follow this traverse, here you have Subarnarekha. So, this direction here is southwest. So, drone is moving towards southwest, and you can see a continuous exposure of this quartzite band. This is first quartzite band to be specific. The next one, as I said, I again show you the locations so that you understand. We are here and we are looking towards the rail line. So, you can see this image. So, we are standing here, this is the rail line, you can see a train is going, this is the bridge, and this one that you see here, that is the Lokjhariya Nala. So, we will see the drone is moving, or it is following the third quartzite band or the exposures here. Let us have a look. You see here that the trend of the quartzite layers are like this, and suddenly it starts from here. So, there must be something, and we will see what are these later. So, now we can imagine that seeing this image that this exposures are like this, quartzite is going like this way. Okay. Now, we will see the overall location through a 360-degree view. So, and the view is clockwise. So, the way drone will rotate. So, we fix the drone to a single location and then make the drone just rotate at a single point along an axis. So, we can have a total overview of this region. So, what we see here, that is the third quartzite band, and then I will show you, or I mark different places when we see one after another. Let us have a look. So, this is still the third quartzite band. This is one of the tributaries to Lokjharia Nala. We can see the Ghatshila main road here. This is Lokjharia Nala, and this is second quartzite band. You can see it is here, and then suddenly it started from here. So, there must be something in between along which the river is flowing, and we will be seeing what is this. You can see this second quartzite band is going along this way. And here we see again the rail line and third quartzite band here. We are seeing the third quartzite band, and by this we complete our 360-degree clockwise rotation. So, we did not see the first quartzite band, but let us move to some other places and see if we can see that. We have seen this, that this is the trace of the second quartzite band that we see, and here this is the Chitrakut hillock or the first quartzite band. Okay. So, the first drone view from Harindungri that we have seen in this lecture, we actually were standing here and viewed towards this direction. So, this is more or less overview of these regions that we will be working here in this field course. So, we will be working at Ferryghat and then in and around Harindungri village, following the 3 quartzite bands and some other exposures here and there. Other than these, we will see some other exposures in this region. So, I have a Google map for you here to give you again the overview. This is the Shingbhum shear zone, trace of the Shingbhum shear zone, and this you see the nose of the synform of Talma volcanics. So, Ghatshila is here. Here you have the 3 quartzite bands going like this. Ferryghat is here. You can see the bridge here. Okay. We will come to a place called Dhalbhumghar to see some sedimentary structures and syn sedimentary deformation. Then we will come to a place also called Tetuldanga. The exposure is somewhere in the middle of a jungle, and where you will see spectacular superposed deformation or superposed folding. We will come to a place called Rakha Mines, an abandoned copper mine. Beside this copper mine, we will track exposures of deformed conglomerates, where we do one set of strain analysis, and we will also approach this place. You can see a little water body here. This is Burudi Lake. We will go there and try to give you the general overview of this entire region. So, we will also hit this place and see what is there. So, that is more or less regions, more or less the locations where we will be working throughout this course. So, with this I finish this particular lecture, and in the next lecture we will talk about structural data and their measurements. You already know what is dip, you already know what is strike, trend, plunge and other things, how to measure them, but because this is a course I would like to make it complete, and we will go very briefly what are these things. Till then, thank you and stay safe.